Hi everyone, it's Di here from Di's Den, and I have been asked by so many people since I put this up on my Facebook group and a demonstrator website, would I make one of these. I think it's called a fan vase, or goodie box. So I'm going to fill mine with chocolates for my mum for her 91st birthday. So I thought I'd make this. I know that this video won't go live until after Easter, but my mum's birthday is the 3rd, so I thought I'd get stuck in and do one now, even though I haven't written a tutorial yet. So we're going to make one of these, but we're not going to decorate the front or any of it. I'm just going to show you the basics because it's going to take a fair while to do. Now I made a gift tag for mine because I'm just going to hang that on here somewhere for my mum and write on it for her birthday. Unfortunately my mum's nearly blind, so she's not going to be able to appreciate this as much as I would have liked her to. But it is really easy, believe it or not. So I'm going to show you what you need, and don't worry if you live in the US where you have letter size paper, because the only difference is that your base will not be the same size, which my bases are 3.5 inches. Yours would have to be no more than 3 1/4. So that is the only difference. All the other measurements will be the same. It will just be your paper will be shorter. So let's pop that on one side and pop that up there, and let me show you what you need. Now I've used the lid off of one of my Stampin' Up boxes because I need 3 pieces of card, because we need the thickness. We need it to be 1/8 of an inch. Now my oh dear me, I've got a bit of a frog in my throat again today. Oh dear, I haven't got a bin here. Never mind, I'll pop it on the floor. I can clean up after. So I'm not going to be using hot glue. I did my other one without hot glue, and I actually think I always have trouble with hot glue. So there you go. So if you don't have a die to cut these, just use something that is that size. Just measure across it, and if it's the right size, draw around it and cut them out. It doesn't matter if they're not 100% circular, as long as they are very, roughly circular. I mean, I can't cut around a circle straight. Hopeless. So you need 3 of those. So you need 3 circles that measure 3.5 inches in card, unless you've got thicker card. And then you'll need 2 more in designer series paper. So I just had a piece of designer series paper that measured 7 inches by 5.5 inches. Oops, there goes my pencil on the floor. So that's all I needed for that, and then the rest is just big pieces. So you'll need 2 pieces of card that are 11 3/4 by 8 1/4. And as I say, if you're in America, in the US or Canada, and you have letter size paper, use the letter size paper because it won't make any difference. It will just be a narrower tube. Piece of designer series paper which is the same size or as much as. So I've just cut that at 8 inches here because we're going to bring it down anyway. And another piece that measures the 12 inches by 2 inches. And that's all we need. So what we're going to do first is I'm going to actually glue these pieces here together so they've got nice time to dry. So I'm going to glue when I can get the glue out of the thing. Had some really lovely weather, and now we've got cool weather. So, and wet weather. So I'm going to pop them together, making sure that they're nice and even all the way around. And don't worry, because I will mark on my written tutorial that you can be done in letter size paper. So that's approximately the same size as my 1/8 of an inch red liner tape. That's the one thing you will need, is some red liner tape or hot glue. I'll leave that entirely up to you. So I'm just doing these so that they've got nice time to dry, because glue seems to soak into cardboard quite rapidly. And I will be making another one of these as well, because I actually have an order for a couple. So, okay. So that's my base done. Let's pop that on one side. Oh, and the one other thing you will need is either a rubber band or a piece of twine for bringing our fan together. Now I'd put a rubber band there, but I'm going to put a flower on the back of this one as well, just a small flower, so that it covers that rubber band. But I haven't got round to that yet. So what we're going to do now is we're going to just work with one piece of this cardstock at a time. Alright, so we're going to bring in one piece of card, and we're going to measure up the side at 4 inches, just on one side. Doesn't matter whether you've got it left or right, just remember that you want it at 4 inches. And then we're going to bring in our trimmer, and we're going to trim from that mark up to the top corner on the opposite side. So let me pop that in there, and that there, like so. And it doesn't matter if it's a tiny bit out. It's not going to be the end of the world. So we're making the fan part first. You can keep this if you wished for other projects, but we're going to pop that on the one side at the present time. So now we're going to bring in our scoreboard, and I'm going to turn this upside down so that the flat edge is across the top. And we're going to score this using the small end of our tool every 1/2 inch. So at 1/2 inch, 1. Now there's no way I could do prepare these, so unfortunately you're going to have to watch me do this, or because I don't know how to fast forward. I'm still learning how to edit things. You can fast forward past me doing this, but every 1/2 inch right the way along. Now if you've got 8-inch paper, 11 inches at the end, that's great because you won't have to cut any off. But as I have 11 3/4, I will be cutting off that tiny little bit at the end. So because I have 11 3/4, I have this tiny bit here, which I'm just going to bring in my trimmer and just trim that tiny bit off the end just there. So just pop that in there and trim that bit off. I've got no bin here. This is terrible not having a bin. Okay, so we've done that, and now we're going to just sit here and we're going to concertina fold this piece, which means fold it forward and backwards on every line, making sure that I'm actually going to do 2 at a time, and then run my bone folder along it. Oh dear, this is quite time consuming in this part of it, but it is worth getting it nice and firm and done. Oh, come on, stay together. Oh, nearly there. And I'm really struggling today to pull these in. Look, I'm going to do these last ones together, and then I'm going to just run my bone folder right along that, like so. So we have this piece that looks like this. Now I'm going to mark along this edge, because this is a 4-inch edge, at 2 inches. The reason I'm doing that is because I want to put my rubber band on here then, and I want my rubber band to be in that middle section there. So don't worry, you're not going to see that. I'm going to pop this together nice and tightly, and with our rubber band, or if we don't have a rubber band, if we want to use twine, we can. We're going to pop our rubber band, or tie a ribbon or whatever through that piece there. Okay, and we want that as close together as possible, because we're now going to fan this out like so, top and bottom, and we're going to bring that around. That's why we need to make sure this is in the middle. If it's not, we need to bring it down a little bit like I do, because we want to be able to that piece to match up with this piece. So we need to come down a little bit more. Obviously my rubber band went up. Tiny bit more. Oh, come on. Sorry, I'm off screen. I'm just pulling that down. That's better. So we're going to fan this out a bit more again. Okay, and now we're going to place some red liner tape along that edge. There. Now you can put that on there beforehand if you want. Now I'm using 1/2 inch red liner tape here. I'm going to make sure that's down nice and firm. And this is still going to come around here like so. The other thing I found, which is a really good idea to have, is a peg. Pokey tool. Pop the end off this. Now you can do this with hot glue if you want. If you're good at using hot glue, that's fine. I find I just don't have much luck with hot glue. I'm not a big hot glue fan. Oh, come on. I find I prefer red liner tape over hot glue, but that's just me. Now I'm going to also place a little bit of normal glue on here, because that helps me to have that wiggle room to get this around. I'm going to pull this around as nice as we can together, like so. And we're going to pop that together nice and tightly in there. I just find that my fingers don't get in there very well. And just going to glue that right down tight, right down to the rubber band, like so. Now I'm going to just pop that on there while that dries, getting it nicely at this side as well. I'll pop it on this side, I think. There we go. Now don't worry if it doesn't quite match. We can always trim that tiny bit there to match, like so. Okay, so I'm going to hold that together like that, and that is our fan part done. Okay, so we're going to pop another piece of red liner tape on there in a moment, but we're finished with this bit for the minute, and we'll work on the box next. So let's pop that out of the way and let that dry. Okay, we're going to bring in our other piece of card, and we're going to measure up the side at 3 inches. And once again, we're going to cut that on that angle. Now, I found it easy to do one before I did the other one, so that I didn't mess them up when I was here, you know, trying to put them together and then get the wrong one. Now, this doesn't quite cut down in this corner because of that. Okay, so we've got our piece there, and we've got our other piece. This is 8 by 12 at the moment, so I'm going to cut this. I'm going to measure this at, excuse me, 2 3/4 inches up. From the end, and cut that on that angle as well. Now, if you've got a guillotine, whoops, that went a bit wonky, didn't it? If you've got a guillotine, great. I do, but mine's really huge, so I'm not going to bring it in. So we can pop that piece on one side as well. And we're going to look at these and we're going to go, well, yeah, that's nice, but I want a little bit more of a, this is not a very, well, no, that's a nice enough gap top and bottom. So I'm going to leave that as is. And I'm going to now glue this piece onto this piece of card. Now, don't worry that one's longer than the other. And you don't want this to be flimsy, you know, like flimsy with the glue, because it's going to roll, remember. So I'm going to pop this on here, and I'm not worrying about my pencil marks either, because they will be covered. If I'm happy with that, which I'm having trouble getting it straight, there we go. I will pop that down nice and tightly, and now I will actually trim that piece off the end. It is easier to do that, and you know that it's the right length, as to do it the other way and it's not the right length. Okay, so that's that piece, and we're also going to now pop this piece on the inside here, like so. And we're going to go up to this corner, but we're not going to worry about down here. So we're just going to glue this piece onto the inside of our box or tube, whatever you want to call it. And then I'm going to put a pin in my glue again. And again, we're going to pop this down that tiny little bit, so we have the same sort of gap at the top as we do at the bottom. Now, I'm not worried about that bit because you're not going to see it. And then I'm going to just trim that piece off the end here, like so. Just putting all them over there on the side. Okay, so this piece is now ready for us to do our rolling. So what we're going to do is we're going to actually give this a bit of a curl now. It's just easier to curl it so that it's got a bit of shape to it already. I just find that it's gives you a chance for the glue to dry. and it makes it easier for us to, that's got a bit of a crease in that bit, that's not good. Good job that's at the angle where you won't even see it. And we're going to put some ribbon around there anyway, so there we go. Oh, got it out. Okay, so once we've done that, and we know that this is going to roll around here like so. So we're going to now put a piece of red liner tape down here, because that's going to come around and fold onto the top of that like so. I'm using the 1/2 inch one again along this edge. And I'm going to pop that down nice and tight, and then I'm going to use the 1/8 of an inch one, or 1/4 inch, I think this is, I'm not sure, I can't remember. Let's have a look. There's about 1/4 of an inch along the bottom. Now again, if you want, you can actually use hot glue. I just found that for me, hot glue is, as I said before, and I've said it and I'll say it again, is a pain in the bum. I just find that it's just not worth all the effort. I get glue everywhere, I get burnt. And I don't like either. Okay, so now I'm going to pull these 2 bits off, for the simple fact that I want to roll all the way around like so. This is the only thing I don't like about red liner tape, is I have trouble getting it to peel up, and it ends up sticking to me. It's so static. Alright, so now I'm going to bring in my circles that are nice and tightly done, and I am going to use wet glue as well, and I'm going to run my wet glue just along a section at a time, and bringing in this piece, I'm going to glue this so that this edge here is flush with the edge of the card, the rest of the box. So the edge of this is in line with the edge of the circles. Oops, come on. This is not going to stick today. Come on. It's because it's cooler today. It does get there in the end, I'll show you. Now I've actually stuck that down there too quickly at the beginning, because I need to stick it from, I should have started from the other end. And then when I get round to there, that's going to overlap onto that one like so, and stick onto there, which I'm now going to use my peg to hold that there. So we now have our shape. This will take a few minutes to dry, and I do have a few creases in this one, which will be okay because I will be putting flowers around the inside of that piece anyway. So once we're happy with that, we're going to give that a few seconds. While that's sitting there holding together. We're going to bring in our other one and we're going to pop some more red liner tape down this side here. And as I say, once again, if you want to use hot glue, go for it. I personally am not the fan of it. If you're one of these that are very proficient with it, I don't seem to be. It just seems to be a real, I don't know, effort for me. Okay, so once we've done that, we're going to just make sure that's down nice and tight. Make sure this one's stuck nicely. Yep, that's beautiful. And don't worry that that doesn't line up there. You're not going to see that. So we're going to pop this piece now. Let's get that pink pokey tool. And get this off. Come on. This is my favourite part. Pulling these apart. I really do have trouble with this, as you can see. There, yay, no, it stuck to me. Okay, starting at the bottom and covering where that join is, we're going to now pop this along the side here. Once you're happy with where it is at the bottom, do the same at the top, making sure that it's flush with this edge. And bring it into position. Like so. I'm going to just use my peg here to hold it together so I can run my hand along there with my bone folder. And along here, just so that I can put that in there. That way I can then spread this a little bit here, like so. Don't worry about that, you're going to put something on it. And there we have it. We have our container. What do you think? It hangs there beautifully. If you find that yours is a little bit too long, you can always trim it. Or like this one, there's a tiny bit out on the top. I've just trimmed that tiny bit off the top there. Let me put the pin in my glue. And there's our pot. What do you think? I will decorate this one. Once you've seen this one decorated, I will actually put it back up. I'll come back into the video. So I'm going to turn you off. I'm going to decorate this and then you will be able to see what it looks like when it's finished. Okay, I'll see you in a second. Okay everyone, I'm back. Just finished this off now. And this is what I did. I put a couple of feathers here and a bow, a couple of roses in the inside and some heart gems. I think it's gorgeous. It does sit lovely. Just, there we go. Just give that a bit of a twiddle up a bit. There we go. It is gorgeous. And I put some ribbon around the edge here and on the inside to match it. This one I put with a gap down the bottom here so you can actually see the card. This one I put right on the top. That way that little crease that I had here somewhere is now covered. So that is my card or vase box, whatever you want to call it, fan vase. That's the two here. Let me zoom out a little bit. Oh, wrong way. So you can actually see them better. There we go. This one I've just got to put a flower on the back there for my mum. This one, yeah, I could put something on the back there if I wanted to. I'm not sure that I will, but we will see. And that is our project. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have and you would like the written tutorial for this, head down below here and you will see the linked for my Facebook group called Diane for Stamping, Crafting and Tutorials. There you will find the written tutorial, which will be dated exactly the same date as the YouTube video and the same date as the photos on my group page. They all go live at the same time, which is 8 AM on a Sunday morning at that South Australian time. So if you've enjoyed that, I would love to see you there, and I'd love to see your version. So please don't forget, if you are on my group, to upload your version so we can all see what beautiful creations you make. And I will see you again next time. Bye for now.